What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, juicy, buttery, amazing Texas-style turkey breast on a pellet grill. Coming up. This is a turkey breast. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a big old Texas-sized turkey breast. Picked this up at my local grocery store, skin on, fully boneless. And luckily for me, I can find these at my local grocery store, but for years I couldn't. And these are the same ones that they use at all the barbecue joints here in Central Texas for that barbecue turkey breast that we all know and love. But now, because HEB has a barbecue restaurant attached to every grocery store, they carry all the barbecue cuts, which is super convenient if you have a backyard barbecue cooking channel. But if you can't find something like this, just try to find the biggest turkey breast you can, maybe debone one, or just cook one that's smaller. Also, side note, I'm pretty sure there's a tornado going through town right now, so it's pretty windy, so I hope the wind noise isn't too bad. And if you see parts of my roof flying off in the background, that's what that means. Also, if anyone knows how to fix a roof or build a new one, hit me up, because this might be the last video in these winds if this roof comes down. But like I said, big old turkey breast, one big piece, which is convenient because a lot of times these will have chunks hanging off or they'll be kind of weird looking because these get pretty mangled in the processing. But to get this trimmed up, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take this skin off. And you could leave it on. I've tried a few times before, but it's really thick and really rubbery and it doesn't crisp up very well, not like chicken skin would. So we're going to go ahead and take it off. Save this for a little snacky poo or toss it into the next batch of chicken and or turkey stock. So skin removed. You could go through and try and get all this membrane off if you wanted to. Pretty tedious work, and I'm not too concerned about it, so probably not going to pay too much attention to it. Also going to go through and trim off any extra fat or any frayed edges just to make this look a little bit better. See on the back here, got some feathered edges. Just square it up. Looking pretty good, nice and clean. Underside looks pretty good. Got some extra fat back here, which you could leave on, but since I'm here, might as well. Minimal trimming, and that is looking pretty much perfect to me. Nice big piece of turkey. And when it comes to seasoning for this turkey breast, you can do whatever you like. A wet brine works very well, a dry brine would work great. Any rub off the shelf would be perfect for a turkey breast like this. Ooh. But this is pre-injected with a 10% water salt solution, but I pay no attention to that. A lot of butterballs are the same way, and in my experience cooking these very turkey breasts, I've never had a problem with them coming out over-salted, so I just pretend that that's not there and go ahead and season this like I normally would any other piece of meat, which today is going to be kept pretty simple with mostly salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And the reason I say we're going to use mostly salt, pepper, and garlic is because on the back side, I'm going to hit it with some Chuds BBQ Secret Salt, which is our kosher salt version of a seasoned salt. The reason I'm only putting it on the back is because I don't want people to know it's there by color. Oh God, it's hard to season in the wind because it's a little secret, you know what I mean? But you could do this on both sides if you felt so inclined. Oh my God, I'm gonna die today. Oh, salt in the eyes. Nice little coating of secret salt, and then we're gonna go down with some 16 mesh black pepper. Not too much. Go ahead and flip that over. And then on the top side, we're going down with some kosher salt, some more 16 mesh black pepper, and some granulated garlic. Nice, healthy coating. Beautiful. Trying to get a nice even presentation on this pepper, just so it looks nice and pretty when it's all said and done. Top and bottom, and we're not gonna forget the sides, folks. Could be a rookie move. And then a nice dusting of some granulated garlic for color and flavor. Help give it that nice golden brown hue. That is looking pretty much perfect to me. Let's go ahead and fire up the pit. Boop. I have gone ahead and cleaned up that pit from the last cook, all the pellets and dust inside, and we're firing it up to 350 degrees, but we're gonna drop that down to probably 225, but I think that's where the igniter issue happened on the last one, was because I tried to start it too low and it was dirty. But first, I should probably add some pellets. That's always a good idea. And due to popular demand, we're going with the old Smokin pecan shell pellets today. Oh, good. I did want to say thank you to everyone that's been dropping comments on the Pellet Grill series so far. There has been an alarming amount of comments, to be honest with you, which is awesome, and I've been getting a lot of really good practical advice on how to improve my cooks on this pit, one of which is throw your meat on early while the thing fires up, get a little extra smoke flavor on that away. So on the pit we go. We're going to be going in our normal spot today, kind of right in the middle. Plump this guy up a little bit so it's nice and thick, and I can tell already that those pecan shells are made a little bit differently than my normal pellet. And that might just be because it's not post-oak smoke, which is what I primarily use and have for the last 10 years or so. So anything that's a little bit different than that, I'm a little more sensitive to. But also just looking at it right now, there seems to be a lot more smoke coming out of that pit than normal. But I do love pecan smoke. I used to use a lot of pecan wood back at Friedman's back in the day. It was great on pork. So I'm pretty excited to try these out. But some other things I did after reading the comments was I cleaned the probe on the inside of that pit because a lot of people said that it might be cooking too hot because of all the creosote built up on the probe. And I took a look at it and it was pretty dirty. So I got some steel wool fuel and some soapy water, and I gave that a little stroke to remove all the creosote on there, so that is a good thing. I also took out the bottom grill plate grates and put the regular grates back in case that was holding onto a lot of heat, creating a hot spot, which is probably a good idea if I'm not using it as a grill. We're not going to be using the smoke tube today because it should be a pretty quick cook. I'm thinking maybe 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. And I also just want to get the flavor of these pellets and see if they are indeed stronger than the regular oak pellets I've been using. Pretty hard to tell with this wind and also that bright sky behind it, but there is a lot more smoke than I'm used to seeing coming out of this thing. And it looks nice and clean and blue. Yeah. Another piece of kit I just picked up after reading a bunch of comments was this bad boy, which is a tiny little shop vac. I didn't know these existed, because if I did, I would have bought one years ago, because this thing is awesome. Uses the same batteries that I use for my leaf blower and all my other tools, because I'm a DeWalt guy, if you guys didn't know. But this thing is great. Super light, super portable. It was like 90 bucks or something, and very convenient for getting all the ash out of the bottom of that pellet grill. It took like 1 minute to clean that thing out the other day. And it's also great because if you want to swap out pellets in between cooks, you can just suck them all out of the hopper and they're just saved in the bottom. You put them in a bag and reuse them later. But pretty happy about this thing. This is gonna be great for cleaning out all my pits moving forward. But the game plan today is to do a pretty quick and easy, straightforward Central Texas style turkey breast cook. So I got that pit set to 225 degrees, and I'm probably gonna keep it there the whole time, hopefully getting some good smoke flavor on there in the meantime. And we're gonna bring it up to an internal temp of about 150, 145 degrees, somewhere in that range. And then we're gonna wrap it up with some butter. I also have the RFX ambient probe in there, so we can kind of keep an eye on that to see what temp we're actually cooking at on that top rack. And right now we are sitting at 215 degrees, although the pellet grill says it's at 195, so we might learn something today. But really, that's an aggressive amount of smoke compared to the B&B pellets. And the roof continues to deteriorate. That is not good. But it is a great day to be using a pellet grill because with all this wind and the drought we've been in lately, it probably would not be a very good idea to fire up the offset or the Chud box or something, because if a back pressure happens and a coal shoots out the back end, I don't want to burn the whole neighborhood down, and that would spread pretty quickly with all this wind blowing. But with the pellet grill, it's all contained inside under a plate, so should be pretty safe, and hopefully the wind doesn't affect the controls too much on this thing. It does seem to be struggling a little bit, judging by the noise coming out of it, but I guess we'll find out. We are about 1 hour into this cook, and I put an RFX into that turkey breast to really monitor the temps, both of the meat and the pit, without opening the lid a whole bunch to see how this thing levels out. And currently, the pit is sitting at 258 degrees, sorry, 258 degrees on the top rack, although according to the pit, it's at 215 degrees. But the probe for the pit is located right under the top rack anywho, so interesting. And if we look at the graph here, we got some ups, we got some downs. Up top is around 275, lows of 240. But if we look at the graph for the actual smoker itself, we got spikes of 250 and dips of 190. So it would appear it is cooking like 30, 40 degrees hotter up top for the most part. But let's take a look at this thing. Oh, it's so cute. It's actually got some pretty good color on it. For a 1 hour cook, that's kind of the golden brown hue we're going for. Bark is adhered nicely. RFX right there, got the ambient guy right there. So I think I might drop the temps down a little bit, just to slow down the cooking process a little bit, because we only have another 30 degrees to go on that turkey breast. And I want to make sure we get some good smoked flavor on there, so I just dropped it down to 200 degrees on the pit. And we're just gonna let it ride for a little bit. We are about 1 hour and 45 minutes into this cook, and according to my RFX probe thermometer, the internal temp of this turkey breast is about 155 degrees. And looking at it, it's looking pretty good. Nice and golden, looking pretty smoky. Pretty similar to the last time we checked on it. And although I dropped the temp down to 200 degrees on the pit, you can see that big dip where I opened the door last time to check on it. It's still been holding right around 260 degrees, 265, which is not ideal. So we definitely cooked a little hotter and faster than I was anticipating. So last time when I did the pork butt and I held it at 180 the whole time, I think that's probably a good move for most cuts moving forward. But we gotta wrap that turkey breast up no matter what. And to do that, we've got some foil with a whole bunch of butter on it, and this beautiful turkey breast is going down. Boop. And that's because just like all the Texas barbecue joints around these parts, it's the copious amounts of butter in the wrap that make the turkey so juicy and delicious, because turkey is pretty lean, so you gotta get some fat in there somehow. And in fact, we're gonna put a little more butter on top just to be safe, and I'm really hoping that this butter doesn't wash away our bark too much. But now what we're gonna do is wrap it up nice and tight. Beautiful. And at this stage, I'm gonna throw this thing back on the pit for probably about 10-15 minutes just to melt the butter and let this thing come up to an internal temp of about 160 or so. Then I'm gonna pull it out, rest it down, and we're gonna slice on in. And after carrying over and resting down to an internal temp of about 145, I think it's time to finally slice into this thing and see how it came out. So open this up like the old foil boat, just to keep all that butter in there. Take our little probe out of there, don't need that anymore. And as you can see, this thing is swimming in butter. And looking at it, it looks pretty good. Definitely not as dark of a color as I was hoping for. The edges where it got kind of washed out by all the butter, not great. I was hoping for a little bit more golden brown, a little more smoke on there, but you know, it's a pretty small turkey breast and we were cooking a little bit hotter and faster than I intended. Although on an offset, I'd be cooking at probably 275 the whole time for a cook like this. But maybe because it's a smaller cook chamber and there's a little more convection going on, this thing cooks a little bit differently. Not quite sure yet, but at the end of the day, we still got some nice color, cooked properly, and I'm never mad about a 2-hour cook, you know what I mean? But either way, I'm gonna put a little butter on top just to make it look a little more shiny. But of course, we got all this butter for dipping our slices in. So let's go ahead and get a few slices out of there. Start by zipping off the end. Ooh, that looks pretty good. And as thick or as thin as your heart desires. I'm going for that kind of a lean brisket thickness, you know? I always forget how hard it is to film white things, but if you catch the light just right, you can see how juicy that is. Got a pinkish hue around the outside where the smoke ring is, so it looks like we got some decent smoke flavor on there. Looking tender, looking juicy. It's been a minute since I cooked a good old-fashioned turkey breast. And you can talk about color on a turkey breast as much as you want, but when it's sliced, you know, that's all we're really getting. So if you're not making YouTube videos, I wouldn't worry about it too much. And still, that's a nice golden brown. All in all, quick, easy cook, not much to it. Looking nice and golden, looking nice and smoky. And we got all this butter for dipping, so I think it's time we go ahead. Let's see how this came out. Grab a couple of these nice tender slices, dip them in the butter bath. Oh yeah. And that is some true Texas-style turkey. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That is so tender. It's just so juicy, so buttery, so turkey. That is perfectly cooked. It's not in your face smoky, but it's a really nice background note. It was so tender. I gotta stop saying it. But for like a 2-hour cook, you really can't expect all that much smoke flavor anyway, but it is beautifully cooked. Look at this, it's like brisket. Boop. That is phenomenal. A little extra dip if you're feeling naughty. I could eat a lot of this, and I probably will. The flavor from the pecan pellets definitely works really well with this turkey. You know, I was a little worried about it being too powerful, but I knew it was gonna be a pretty quick cook anyway, so I thought it'd be a good way to test it out. But I like those pellets, they burn well. A lot of smoke coming out of that pit today. I was also just curious about them in general, like pecan shells as opposed to pecan wood. Interesting, but it's a nice mild flavor. That is so good. Honestly, I think it could use a little bit more salt. I think I got a little nervous talking about the brining and all that stuff. Plus I used salted butter, so I was a little hesitant on the salt, but I don't think Bones or a normal person would ever say that this needs more salt. But the point is, don't be scared of adding salt to a pre-brined bird, you know what I mean? Oh my God. It tastes just like a really good roast chicken or something like that. It's not screaming barbecue, but it's definitely got that nice little smoky note in the background. It's gonna make for some great sandwiches, tell you that much. Definitely not mad about having all this in the fridge. I tell you what. Brooke.
Yes?
Would you like to try some smoky, buttery turkey breast?
Yeah, this looks good.
It's been a minute since we had a turkey breast out here.
You know I love turkba. Yum, yum, yum.
What do you think?
Juicy.
Well, it's dipped in butter, so
yeah,
that's always going to help. But the turkey itself is quite juicy.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like heavy.
It's the best part about barbecue turkey. It's the same form factor as like brisket or ribs or something like that, but it's not going to hit you nearly as hard.
No, it doesn't have like, it has a very small hint of smoke, but I'm not getting like a lot of pepperiness or anything.
Yeah, very just pleasant, you know?
Yeah.
It's not sharp in any direction.
It's good, and I think that it'd be good kind of with anything. Like there's no like strong flavor one way or the other. Like you could pair this with anything is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I was kind of saying it's like a roast turkey or a roast chicken. Kind of like, this is a perfect cold cut.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's a good building block for a sandwich or something like that.
Ooh, I'm gonna need to do that.
I don't know if I would call it a barbecue turkey, because it's not like screaming heavy smoke and all that, but honestly, as far as like what I personally want to eat like during the week,
yeah,
this is it.
You could eat this for lunch and not feel like you need a nap.
Right.
A crowd pleaser.
And I suppose if we wanted to dial up the smoke, we could throw the smoke tube in, or we could cook it lower and slower, but I'm liking this. I was telling Bones that I was making this video, and we may save a chunk of this and throw it on the meat slicer for some super thin deli cuts, but I don't know, because
it might not last.
I don't think it's gonna last. I'll have to cook another one. All right, I've been instructed to slice the rest of this up so Brooke can make herself a sandwich. But with this bite of smoky turkey breast, I think it's time for the official taste test. The winds have finally settled down a little bit, but that means all the dust in Texas is now landing. So I got to get this inside pretty quick. But I mean, look at this spread. That is just beautiful looking. Can't get anything like this at your deli counter. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make an absolutely fantastic, smoky, Texas-style turkey breast on the pellet grill. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, is it the smokiest, best barbecue turkey breast I've ever made? Probably not. Is it something I would do again in the same exact way? 100%. You know, as far as meats to have in the fridge and meal prep goes, having a turkey breast like that on hand is absolutely amazing for breakfast or sandwiches. I really did love the flavor of it, and this was pretty bare bones too. You know, we could always add more smoke with a smoke tube if we wanted to, more complex rub. The list goes on, but quite frankly, that was really tasty to me. It was tender, it was juicy, and honestly, I'm gonna make another one this weekend just to bring to the Chud shop and throw on the meat slicer, because a triple-decker turkey club sounds like a pretty good idea, and I've been craving one lately. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!